Watch what Jen.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. Sorry for the later stream tonight and for the later than intended start time. It's busy tonight. Things are kind of. I was having some technical difficulties right here as I was trying to get the stream up and running, which is partly why things are a little delayed past the 10 o'clock point that I said I would start. But here we are. So let me know if the sound is too loud, too quiet, anything. It's been my computer's done some things in the past week since I last streamed, including update itself to Windows 11. So I don't know if all my settings are still okay. I'm assuming and hoping that they are, but until such a time as that's confirmed, who knows? But in any case, we're gonna do a stream for a little while tonight. So, first thing we're gonna look at is my my mini prints. I got these ordered last month sometime. I don't remember exactly when, but I got a bunch of friends of the channel, as well as a bunch of, or not a bunch, but a few little things that'll spice up the layout and add some real nice detail to it. And then we're going to go back to working on the Hopewell Depot here. I went back last week. I had some time. I went back to the depot with my measuring tape, and I confirmed some measurements. So I have confirmation on window sizes and things like that. So why is Oh, shoot.
There we go. That ought to be much nicer for you to hear. I don't know what microphone it was picking up, but it was. There we go. That ought to be. Yeah, there we go. That was pretty awful. I apologize. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like I said, Windows updated my computer without my realizing it, and apparently Streamlabs updated at the same time, and some things got messed around with apparently. But now we're so much better. All right. So, anyways, yeah, I got these mini prints. We're gonna open them up. We're gonna take them off, take some of them off their sprues, show them off, give them probably a light. Probably go through and give them a light base coat layer of paint. And then we're gonna jump back to working on the depot. As I was saying before, I realized my mic was all screwed up. I have since last week when we had our measurement kerfuffles, I went back to the depot and I confirmed some measurements. I confirmed the window size, the window heights, a bunch of useful measurements like that. So now I'm certain of what I need to cut holes for, and then it's just a matter of finding and or kit bashing window frames that actually work for that. So, but yeah, I also have since last week gotten this nice little. This is a very nice little tool. It's an scale framing ruler, framing square, with scale rulers down to 6 inches, just like my big ruler here, all the way along both sides. So that'll be very helpful in making sure I get some nice square cuts and square lines and things. I've actually gotten quite the large order, or not the large order, but I got a number of packages that came recently. But so these are this. I got a couple shout outs here to make here. So this guy is from a company called Americana Miniature Products. Brass dogs ornaments on eBay, which is where I got them. And it's very nice a very nice tool, and I can't wait to be using it. The other, one of the other shout outs, like I said, obviously, Mini Prints. Bernard Helen at Mini Prints does some really nice work in 3D scans, in all sorts of 3D printing, etc., etc. And he's a great guy. If you ever see his booth at a show, be sure to walk up to him and say hi. As long as he's not actively scanning somebody, he is always down to chat, and he's a very fun person to be around. But the other group that our company group, whatever, that I want to shout out tonight is Mohawk Designs. If you are looking for railroad apparel, they are a great place. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but I've just had some really excellent customer experiences with them as of late. I have, I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 shirts, 2 hats from them now, I think. And yeah, they're just a phenomenal company. Hey, Topaz, welcome in. But yeah, so if you're looking for railroad apparel, they are a great company. I just got 2 shirts from them with New Haven Alco Century on them. And the customer experience I've had with them is nothing short of delightful. So shout out to them for being an awesome company. And I can't wait to wear. I'm going to wear one of these shirts that I got today at Ops Till You Drop this weekend, which I guess segues me as I start to open up these mini prints here. Segues me into this weekend. Actually, I got to make sure I got my camera equipment and everything already. This weekend, I'll be going up to Syracuse, New York for Ops Till You Drop, which is a 2-day, 3-layout operating event put on by the Central New York Division of the NMRA. And I cannot wait. I'm going to be running, let's see. I'm going to be running on Drew James's Canada Spokane and Pacific, which that's going to be a blast, let me tell you. I cannot wait for that. I got to his layout last year, and it's a phenomenal layout. I've got a video on my channel already, and obviously I'll be making a new one as I run trains this year. But very excited to be going back up to Drew's. I'm going to be going to Ed O'Connell's New Haven Railroad, which that's going to be a really great time. I cannot wait to get to Ed's layout because Ed O'Rourke. Woof. Ed O'Rourke's New Haven HO scale layout is going to be phenomenal. I cannot wait for that. I've been looking forward to that layout for a good long while. And I can't wait for that. That's gonna be so fun. He's got a beautiful layout, and next year it'll be fully scenic. This year it's about, I think he said about 30% scenic right now. But I'm very excited to run some New Haven. And then the third layout is going to be Dick Hare's Boston and Albany layout, which is a smaller layout, but apparently has a lot of really good switching and is very fun to run on. So I'm very excited to get to Dick's and run his trains as well. So I can't wait for that. So expect some real good videos coming out on those 3 layouts soon. And then the following weekend, I will be heading down to Long Island for Island Ops and doing 4 layouts there, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So lots of layouts that I'm going to be visiting, running trains on, and I'm very excited. So expect some real nice videos coming out on 7 really fun layouts. So anyways, these mini prints here. So like I said, Bernard Helen at Mini Prints, Dr. Mini himself. So actually we'll start with that. Dr. Mini himself, he brings to a lot of train shows and events and stuff. He brings his scanning arm and everything. And he does 3D scans of people and creates 3D prints of them for model railroaders to put on their layout, known as mini-me's. So here is Dr. Mini himself. Let me see, what's the best way to do this? Let's try and blank out the screen. That way it can focus on the print. So there is Dr. Mini. That's Bernard Helen himself. It's very hard to see. Hey, good day, friend. How you doing? Great video today. That looked like a lot of fun. Yeah, looked like you had a great time at the Easter show yesterday, and glad you could pop in for a minute. Good to see that things are going well down under for you. Looks like a lot of fun. Yeah, I've got some fun mini prints here that I'm showing off tonight, and I'm gonna probably do a base coat of paint on, and then we'll move on to my scratch build. But it's good to see you in the chat. It's been a little bit, so glad to hear you're doing well. So yeah, that's Bernard. His caricature, whatever, is Dr. Mini. He wears his white lab coat, and he's got his little shrink ray in his hands. It's very hard to get this camera to focus on it. If I had a better camera, it would be much easier to see. But we got Dr. Mini himself. We have the social media manager of the NMRA, Ms. Lucy Dormont. Lucy is a wonderful wonderful woman to get to know, spend time with. I got to spend some time with her at the NMRA booth at Springfield this year, and she's just wonderful. So I've got a mini-me of her. She's holding up her iPhone to take some pictures. So I'm thinking I might need to see if I can get someone to do a 3D print of a DeLorean to explain how this iPhone got to the 1975 to 1985 time period. But we'll get there when we get there. We got my friend Ed O'Connell, who I will be spending a lot of time with. I'll be spending a little bit of time with this weekend at Ops Till You Drop, but I'll be spending a ton of time with him next weekend at Island Ops because we're going around across the island together. And he is wearing his Ops Squad ambulance jacket, I believe, and he's got his radio. If I can ever get him out of the dang bag here. There we go. There he is. Yeah, he's got his... I really wish that you could see these on camera. When I get them all on the layout, you'll be able to see him much better. But he's got his cap on. He's talking into his two-way radio. And he's got his Ops Squad ambulance jacket on. So it's great. We've got one of my favorite pairs of personalities in the model railroad world. Andy Dorsch and Mike Ostertag of the Second Section podcast. Got the pair of them here waving, hanging out together. So it'll be good to have them on the layout, hanging out. If you want to check out their show, it is linked down in the description below, or I think it is. I don't know. These YouTube links. These YouTube links work sometimes, break other times, but they are a Second Section podcast on YouTube here, and they've got a great podcast / live stream show that they do every 2 weeks, roughly. So actually, I think they had a show last week, so they won't have one this week. But they're great. They put on a great show, and I'll be happy to have them. Oh, nice. Yeah, I imagine that's a that's a narrow gauge HO. That's awesome. Yeah, mini-me's are super fun. Someday I'll get a mini-me out there. But I'm just not financially sound enough at the moment to do that, because it costs like $250 basically to just get scanned. Because he's got to make it worth it. It's time spent. It's a lot of work to clean up the model, of the mesh and everything. So, but the last mini-me we've got here is someone who I'm very happy to call my friend, Mr. Ray Arnott of the Around the Layout podcast. Again, supposed to be linked down in the description below. But Ray is someone who I met last year, actually coming up on 1 year ago, because I met Ray at the Ops Till You Drop last year. And I found his show there, and becoming a part of the community and around the layout really has brought me into a whole new world of the hobby here. You have all of us content creators online and people like that. 6.5 mil. I need all the rulers I have here are scale. I don't have anything that has mils. Okay, yeah, that's pretty narrow gauge though. 4 to 5 inch radius. Wow, that is tight. Oh boy. You could fit that on like a personal pizza box. That's pretty wild. But yeah, I'm very thankful to Ray and his community for taking me in and helping me to find my place in the world of online model railroaders. And he's got a truly awesome community, and I'm super happy to have a mini Ray on the layout, because He's become one of my really good friends in the online modeling community here, and he's got a wonderful podcast. So, oh jeez, 1 inch curve! Holy cow! Holy, that is insane. I don't know if I don't even know what I'd do with that. That's something else. So the other things that I've got from mini prints here are just some accessories for my layout. So we've got 6 of these 20-pound propane tanks. And I was going to paint these up and put these with my propane dealer that's on my layout. We've got some geese that are grazing on some grass, and you can see they're all still on their supports from 3D printing. But geese here are feeding on the grass, you know, ducked down, grazing away. So those will be fun to add some wildlife to my layout, because, you know, there's animals all over the place. Excuse me. I'm going to put them in a little field here on my layout. And then the last item that I got here is one that's going to be pretty fun. Actually, some assembly required here is a little forklift. And this forklift, and here's the bed. Or the actual forks. Hey, Adam. Good evening. Thanks for stopping in, my friend. It's good to have you. Just going through my my mini prints here that I just got from Bernard Saturday. We got Bernard himself, from left to right, Bernard himself, Lucy Dormont, Ed O'Connell, Andy Dorsch, and Mike Ostertag, and Mr. Ray Arnott, as well as some geese, some 20-pound propane tanks, and a little forklift, which the forklift is going to be sitting by the Team Track loading dock that I'm going to be adding to my layout. So we'll do a quick I think we'll do a quick paint job on just to give at least the mini me's. Very nice. Yeah, I wish I could get more from him. I'm just like, I want to get this layout to a good spot and then kind of set it aside, my current layout, because it's kind of built on a not so great foundation. Because the construction of it, the foam panels that I used, they warped, so they it just doesn't work. It's not something that's super fixable, unfortunately, is the problem. So I'm just kind of adding some fun details and getting it to a point where I can say it's finished and then be happy with it. But mini-me's like this, I can totally take off the layout and move to a future layout. So I want to get these friends of mine on the layout, or in the case of Ray, around the layout. So we're gonna start with Dr. Mini himself. Let's see, your Pico trinket. Ooh, that sounds very handsome. So let's give everyone here a base coat of white. That way, what we paint over. Yeah, organization is very helpful. It's something I've been working on getting going for myself here. There's only so much I can do in the space that I've got, though, unfortunately. I don't have a ton of space in the house that I'm in. But when I move out, I will hopefully be able to have a dedicated space instead of just having it as part of my bedroom for the hobby. Here we go. We'll get a nice white base coat on. There is on Dr. Mini himself. So now you can probably actually pick up some of the details on there if I was able to get the camera to focus. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever be able to get it to cooperate that much with me. Let's move on to Ms. Lucy Dormont. Yeah, painting these minis is going to be... It's going to be something new for me. I've never painted miniatures this small and or detailed yet, so... Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's no fun. That's never fun, Adam. Sorry to hear that. And I'm sure that understandably takes up a lot more of your time than you would ever like or want it to. But it's just, you know, it's one of those things that when it happens, you just kind of have to deal with it and get through it. I'm really sorry to hear that, though. That sucks. But yeah, painting these is going to be a fun challenge. I've never I was not ever into Dungeons and Dragons or Warhammer or, you know, any of those tabletop role-playing games that had miniatures as part of them. I never really got into anything like that. I just stuck with the trains. But so because of that, now I don't have the experience that some modelers have in painting these. But I do have the very nice, fine brush tips. So at least there's that. And those are thanks to Kalmbach. I got them from their trains.com store. There's Bernard. There is Lucy. We got Mr. Ed O'Connell, who does not have a base, so I'm just grabbing him by the feet. Yeah. Yeah, that's about the same for me. Actually, I went in and out of other things, but trains was the constant. Especially model-wise, trains was the only thing I really ever got into. But I got into... Let's see, I spent some time really into Beyblades. I spent some time really into Bakugan. I spent some time really into planes, you know, toy planes. You know, Matchbox style stuff. Matchbox, Hot Wheels, etc. Too much paint on the brush. So those were my things. Oh no, Ed got away. Come back here. What did I just knock over? Well, figure it out later. Imagine not getting advertisements. That would be nice. Sorry about that. Ooh. So yeah, we're going to get a base coat on these, and then we're going to, I think, move on to continuing work on the depot model. So for anyone who missed it, as I'm working on this, I'll talk a little bit about that project. For anyone who missed last week's stream, I am working on scratch building a model of the Hopewell Depot in Hopewell Junction, New York. It's Central New England, let's see, Newburgh, Dutchess, and Connecticut, and Poughkeepsie and Eastern Railroads, and then the Central New England Railroad, and then the Central New England was bought by the New Haven and became a New Haven Railroad station until the last passenger train came through in 36 or 37, I don't remember which off the top of my head right now. I'm focused on, my brain's focused somewhere else. But after that point, it just kind of became a worker's shed and a stopping point, crew change point, I believe, in the 50s, 60s, until the 70s. Penn Central took over in 69, and they really didn't want to use the Maybrook line. They much preferred the New York Central line up the river, and then cross the river at Albany instead of cross the river in Poughkeepsie. So they kind of let a lot of stuff on the Maybrook deteriorate, and in 1974, Poughkeepsie Bridge burned down, which basically cut the Maybrook line in half, and from that point on, it just kind of became a small branch line from Danbury to Poughkeepsie and back, basically. And in 1984, the last freight train rolled through. The last kind of through freight train ran through. And then they stopped using the depot. They just kind of left it abandoned. And then they, in 1987, there was a fire in the depot that was lit by, it was arson. There was an arson at the depot, I should say. Fire lit by a firefighter looking to become a hero. And the building took some pretty serious damage in the fire and was just kind of an eyesore for a long time until the mid 90s. A group finally came together to preserve and rebuild the depot, and they've succeeded in their goal by 2013, I believe it was, when the depot opened as a museum. I'm modeling it in its 1970s appearance, which means basically instead of the nice tan that the building has now, if you look it up, I'm going to be using some red paint. And instead of the nice rounded doors, it's going to only have one rounded door. It's just going to have some squared off doors elsewhere. And so that's what I'm going to be modeling, and I'm building a scratch build model of it because it's pretty local to me, and it is a place that I've spent a lot of time volunteering at, and it's a pretty special place to me. It's where I fell in love with the New Haven, like well and truly fell in love with the New Haven, and yeah, it's very special to me, so I want to build a model of it, and I'm going to build some T-Track modules to go with it. And build a model of the Maybrook line coming through Hopewell Junction. So, that's what I'm going to be working on once I finish getting this base coat on all my friends here. And I'm using, it is Northeastern Scale Lumber board and batten siding, which is very nice. Yeah. So I guess that's about all there is to say on that. I'm just gonna keep on jabbering on here to fill airtime as I finish painting these miniatures. Okay, and that just leaves Ray, and I think I'm gonna leave. I might do the ducks, but I think I'm gonna leave the. I'm gonna leave the. Forklift for now. I'll do the ducks and the propane tanks as well, though, because those are fairly small and fairly easy. There we go, a nice base coat for Ray. Alright, we'll do the propane tanks certainly. So those are going to be nice and easy. Oh geez, it's already been 45 minutes since I started this stream. How did that happen? Or 40 minutes, roughly. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. Whoa! Propane tank flew off of its stand here. Oh, those two got molded together. Whoops. Well, that'll have to be cleaned up a little bit and get a little light sanding. That's easy enough to do when I get there. Good night, Topaz. Thanks for tuning in for a little while tonight. Hope you have fun with that HO narrow gauge stuff, and glad you could join me for a little bit. I wish someday I'll have better cameras so you can actually see when I'm working on tiny little things like this. Someday I'll be like Heath and have a nice fancy camera rig. But until such a time as I have money, that will not be the case. Eventually I'll upgrade this camera to a nicer one, but I still don't know how well it'll show up things like this. All right, let's put those down. Let me just quickly grab this guy here and give him another pass because he shot off of his sprue. Nope. There we go. There we go. Yeah, whatever. That'll do for now. And we'll get these geese, because why not? They're here. We're going to leave the forklift for now, though, and then we're going to jump back to working on the depot. Geese. Honk. Oh, oh. Now these geese are going to be a little more difficult because they got a lot of sprues here. But I should still be able to give them a good, nice base coat. So then it breaks off. Yeah. Well, at least the print's still going. Yeah, 3D printing is something I have not even begun to dig into. It's something I want to really bad. Between what you're doing in Heath Discord and what Sean Dyke's doing on his channel with Klondikes, it's just you people are really making me want a 3D printer. Which nowadays is becoming less and less of an expensive proposition, which is pretty wild. Unfortunately, it's one that still takes up a fair bit of space, which means that it's something I can't do right now. But it is something I want to get into eventually, is printing. Printing would actually be an excellent solution to designing and building the brackets for the roof, the roof eaves on the depot that I'm going to be building. Because it's got these nice curved brackets, which are going to be very difficult for me to build physically by just cutting them out of wood, unless I like turn them out of wood. You know, I hold on to it and then like basically mill it out of the wood. But yeah, that is true. That's true. I would be willing to pay shipping on that, but that's certainly an option. I don't know. I want to get a chunk of the building done first before I even start looking at that. That way I can feel like I've made some progress instead of 4 false starts, which is what I've got right now. Maybe not 4 false starts, but you know. There we go. Geese are coated for now, and we're just gonna leave. We're just gonna put the forklift off to the side. And now to clean off this brush before it gets all gunked up and unusable. Where did my paper towel go? There it is. My desk is back to being a mess, but hey, you know, that's how you know it's a real workspace. Yeah. Hopefully Joey can get that that vent put in. That way he can be more. He can do more cutting and stuff like that while not putting his health at risk, because that's not worth it. Where did that brush container go? There it is. Let's pop this back away. Yeah. A laser's another thing that would be really nice to have, but that's something I definitely am not going to have space to have for a good long while. I might be able to find if I do wind up moving to Boston, which is still very much on the table. I might be able to find like a makerspace or something that has a laser cutter that I can bring my files to and print and cut for a fee. But Etsy for, yeah. I mean, with this all the stuff you've designed and cut, yeah. Darn phone. Okay. Let me shift my brain into model building mode and out of painting mode as I slowly let me put away the mini prints for now. I'm probably going to circle back to these tomorrow or the next day, and you know, I'll slowly start painting them. I'm going to try and get some good reference images of all my friends here. Hey, that's more than half done. That's pretty good. There's Ed, put away Andy and Mike. And, of course, Ray. Put these propane tanks away. Try not to pop any more of them off the printing supports. Oh, the geese are supposed to go with the tanks. That's right. That way nothing bends the forks on the forklift. This forklift is going to be this is going to be a real test of my painting skills, because it's got a lot of really nice detail, because Bernard puts a lot of work. I mean, it's even got like a control stand there. Yeah, like a gear shift stand. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's there, and it's pretty impressive that it's there. So, but that's gonna be a project for a very different day. That's gonna be a day's project in and of itself, painting this guy with my micro brushes. Whoa. Nearly dropped it on the ground. That would have been sad. Alright, let me put all my friends away into... I love the boxes that Bernard sends everything in. It's such a nice little case for all my little things. I appreciate some good packaging. Put that away. Okay. So, now that we have these two walls, both of which are incorrect, we're going to hopefully have a correct wall after tonight is done. Where did my other wall go? Alright, well, here's my... Is this... Door. That's alright. Well, let's take a look here at him. Oh, sorry. Heath's Discord. There it is. All on the workbench. Oh boy. Yeah. That will do it. Well, hopefully it still finishes well. Here's hoping. Yeah. Got so many. So many messages on Discord here. There we go. Go away. It's the great and terrible thing about being a part of many communities is I get many messages. All right, let's get my sheet of board and bat and siding back out. There it is. Okay, so let me look at my phone here. Let me see what the measurements I took. Oh, so let me find this. Got so much crud everywhere. Right now, I just gotta straighten everything up again. Yeah, it's even if it's not like a, you know, mission critical sort of print, it still would be nice to have it, you know, be correct. Alright, go to my notes app. Okay, so I did last week think that all the windows were 3/6. It turns out that I've somewhere along the line, whether it was in my initial note taking or my transcription of the notes or whatever, the windows are not 3/6, they are 2/6, and they are 6'3" from sill to top. The doors are 7'6" tall, not 8'0", so that'll be something else I have to check, adjust. And then with the one round door that I discovered I need, it's going to be 7'8". And the side windows on the bays are 1'6". I don't know if that... Oh, excuse me. Whoa. Yawn out of nowhere. I don't know if that's what I have them drawn as right now in my plan. I don't have them notated on my plan right now, but they are 1 to 6. And the building, the battens on the building, like the actual the real life prototype building are 8 inches. I think these are 12 inches roughly. Yeah, these are roughly 12-inch battens. But 4 scale inches per batten, I think, is acceptable margins for the fact that this is the smallest board and batten that I could find anywhere. So, without having a like CNC machine to mill my own board and batten siding out of some basswood sheet, this is about as close as I can get, and that's something we will just have to accept. So, all right. So now let's do this wall for a 3rd time, and hopefully get it right this time. Also, where's my files? Let me shave down this. Whoops, sorry, punched the mic there. Let me shave down this face here to try and get it flush. That way I have a nice flat surface to start working with. There we go. That nice and cleaned. All right. So, here's my plan. So we have a 13-foot wall. So we're going to go feet. Feet, and then we'll take our framing square. Go right to there. Nope, there it is. That one. There we go. All right, X-Acto and metal ruler. This is probably the only cut that I will be able to make with this blade, and then it's probably time to get a fresh blade. Go, keep scoring this till we get a nice clean cut all the way across. There we go. Okay, so there's our 13-0 wall. All right. So now I need to go 30. And that'll be our... Oh, actually, no. I need to go 19.6. There's 19.6. We can go 19.6 on this side. If I can get an accurate wall tonight, I think that's where I'll leave it, and I'll be happy at that. And this is a project that I'll be working on and off camera. So, we'll see how far we can get on camera. 19'6". Okay, that's pretty accurate. I'm pretty happy with how accurate that is. So now let me get my framing rule. There we go. Okay, here is our wall. So I'm gonna so this here needs to go 2 foot 6 inches, which means we lost 1.5 foot. Accurate is very good. Accurate is very nice. So we're gonna go 4. So this is gonna become 6.6. This is gonna be 4.0. Right, 4.0. 6.0, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 19.6. Okay, that math works out. And 3.6 is the accurate width of the door. I measured that and got that one right. So, now... Okay, so... From here, I need to go 3.6. What do you want, phone? So many notifications. All right, 3.6 from this side. Let's get another marking just to be able to have a nice clear. There we go. 3.6, 3.6. Let's grab my framing square. Get an alignment. Put a line right there. All right. Oh, that's not cut yet because now we need to go. Oh, what did I say the door was? Was the door 3.6? Oh yeah, the door's 3.6. It's 7.6 tall. That's what I need. Seven six is right there. Okay. Here's my 7-6 line. Here's the door. Right? Yes. Okay. And then I need to go 6-6. I don't know if that's... Let me bring up my reference picture for myself here. 6-6 seems like a far distance. It could be. Let's do 6-0 and 4-6. Let's try that, and then we'll see how that looks. Should have the one thing I didn't think to remeasure is the distance between the edge of the window and the edge of the corner of the building. So we're gonna go with, what did I say, 4-6 from the corner of the building. And it is a 1, 2, 6 window. Right, next line here should go right there. Get rid of this line here because I don't need that. Right. Now I need, let's see, my other measurements here. I had 6'3" tall, and their sill is at 28 inches, so that would be 2 foot. Call it 2-3. There's my sill height. Here's my sill height. Okay. And now I need 6'3" off of that. Let me tell you, this framing square, very nice. Okay, there's that. And now I need to figure out what the best way to round this is. And I'm thinking this might not be a bad plan to use one of these sorts of things that I got laying around here as a sort of... That's not big enough. That's too big. How's this? No, not nearly big enough. I knew that. I know. I don't know why I even tried. The Exacta is the closest thing, but it's just too big. Yeah, this is a super nice little tool. I'm so glad that I decided to pick this up, because geez, this is being real helpful right now. All right, well, I need it to be. I know that it's a half circle and it's 1-3 high. So what I can do is put a line right across there. And do that. And that's what needs to go away. Now let me just quickly... Yeah, that makes sense. I never got any like scaled squares or anything in school. I should have, but no, I only ever got squares that had inches on them. Nothing. Whoa, excuse me. Nothing like that. Using my reference images, this looks about right. So we're gonna start cutting. I have excuse me. I have architectural scales from school. I have a couple. You know, the tetrahedral. You know, with everything between like 32nd inch scale all the way up to 3 inches to a foot scale. I've got that, a couple of those, couple different. You know, I've got one that's metal with rounded edges. I've got one that's plastic with sharp, you know, pointed edges, etc. But I never had any for model railroading scales until I picked up this scale ruler a little while back. And it worked so well that I decided I needed this. When I saw this square from, what was that? Where'd the pad go? Where'd the company? I want to give them credit because they made a good product. Americana Miniatures Products. That's the company. When I saw their square and end scale, I was like, oh, that's genius. I need that. Especially because I was starting to work on this project here. And I was like, you know, that would be very nice to have. The only thing that I wish about it is I wish it had a lip that could catch the edge of my model here. But I get it. Alright, there's our doorway. Let's go ahead and get our window done. I think after this wall, this blade definitely needs to be disposed of, and I need to get a new, nice, sharp blade. Yup. Yup. Yeah, those triangular scales, I use this. I use those all the time at work. I use those all the time when scaling the drawings the boss makes and drafting them into AutoCAD. Those are, you know, because a lot of stuff he'll dimension, but he won't dimension everything, but he draws his sketches to scale. So, pick up the scale. It's a 1'3" wall, or that's a 2'8" door, or whatever. Very helpful. It's almost like they were designed to do that job. Oh, apologize for that. You know what? Before I do that, let me do a little bit of scoring work here. Gonna trim out what I can of this. There we go. And now we can get the now we can get this in here and round it out. That is pretty good. Oh, very nice. Very nice, Adam. I kind of wish we still used vellum. It's such a neat like material to use for drafting. And I wish I learned more hand drafting in school. They taught us how to computer model and do digital drafting, which is what I do at work all the time. But it's also, and I guess I did learn. I mean, I guess I did learn how to draft by hand, just not nearly as well as I know how to do so on the computer. Because work nowadays is just you go on the computer for basically everyone. Right, let's just even this out. Hey, that sort of looks like this. Wait, no. No. What am I? Is this? Yeah. If I were to flip this mirrored, let's see if I property, nope, not properties. If I go to transform, flip vertical, nope, flip horizontal. I don't know why my brain always flips those. Go back here, flip, horizontal. That's pretty good. I think we finally have an accurate wall for this this here building. The only thing I'm not sure of is this dimension right here. If I do, tomorrow's looking very nice. I might go out for a bike ride, in which case I'll toss the tape measure in my car and get an accurate dimension for this here. Because right now this is at 4.6. I don't know if that 4.6 seems a little... I wonder if it's 4.0 instead of 4.6. Or maybe back down to 3.6 and the window just shifts a foot over. I'm not quite sure, so I'm gonna I'm gonna double check that tomorrow. But that is that's the first wall. You know, I got the window size here is definitely right. The window size, I think Heath was the one who was commenting on the size of the window last week, and he's absolutely right. This is a massive window. I mean, if I put those over top of each other, you can see. Oh, you can't see because the reference image here is in the way. But if I hide that and then show you, now you can see just the massive difference between a 3.670 window and a 2.663 window. Because wow. This looks much more accurate. So I'm glad that I thought to measure. Alright, so I've got that wall. Why not get this end wall, and then we'll call it a night. I think if I can get that end wall, I can say successfully that I have a good start. So the end wall is 13.6 and then 17.0, and then I need to drew this at 9.6, which sounds that sounds right from what I remember. Yeah, well, that's what I would do, but like if I didn't have access to the building, but I'll literally, if I go on my bike ride tomorrow, I'll literally be driving to this building to start on the bike trail, because the Dutchess County Rail Trail is now the Maybrook line, or is what is currently the Dutchess County Rail Trail was once the Maybrook line, and it starts and ends at the depot. So I'll just, and I won't be working tomorrow because the boss didn't have time to prep any work for me, which is totally understandable. He's doing a lot of stuff right now. He's got a lot of things on his plate right now. So, but if I didn't have access to the building, that's exactly what I'd be doing, because I know that those that you did, but I know that these battens are 8 inches on center, because I measured that. I did go back and I did measure everything. I measured the windows, which is how I got these accurate window size. I measured the door height, which is how I got the accurate door height. I measured the windowsill. I measured everything. I didn't think to measure from the edge of the window to the edge of to the corner of the building. This is the one thing I forgot to measure, or I didn't think to measure. So, but it's easy enough to do. But yeah, if I didn't, I have a lot of reference photos of this building available to me, and I would totally be counting battens. Alright, so that's a 9.6, and it is a 24-foot long wall. Okay. Yep. I think you and Heath were both getting on my case about going back and measuring and measure twice or cut once or blah 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 blah. But yeah, but I wanted to get stuff done, so you know. All right, 24 feet. Let's see, and also, which side of the building am I on? I'm on this side, so I get 2 windows. Okay, and those windows are at, I believe, 6 feet, and they are the same size window. Yeah. I'm just so impatient. Yeah, 6 feet in. I was right. Okay. What can I say? You guys were right. 24 feet. And then let's come over here. Feet. Another big part of my issue last week was I was tired. And I'm sort of tired now, but I also have accurate information now, or more accurate information. So that is excess there. Grab my X-Acto. Oh man, it's so nice having access to the buildings. And if I'm really like when I get around to doing the when I get around to actually doing all the brackets to hold up the eaves, I believe in the because this is now a museum. The depot is now a museum, which has been lovingly and beautifully restored to its 1873 condition. The museum has access to, or they have in their library, the architectural drawings of this building. So when I get to the, I could just ask them for everything, but you know that's no fun. You know, I want to do some guesswork, because the other nice thing is if I say, oh well, I just worked off the architectural drawings, any little nitbit, any little thing is going to be like, oh well, that's on me. Whereas now it's like, oh well, it could just be a mistake in measuring if I get something wrong. So, oh wait, this is not going to work. I just cut this, but this is not going to work because I need another 3'6" here. All right, well, I have a little piece of that now. Sure. Let's see. Last house in the block in Detroit, and the other's gone. Well, then at least you got a good starting point then with those company house kits. I assume I guess I assume because that's the only company house kit I know of off the top of my head. But my brain immediately jumps to the Walters kit, which I don't know if that's the one you're talking about. But use that to fix the other wall with the. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what was, you know. I basically just got to cut this down to length now. And that was originally my plan, is basically to work around. And I was just like, yeah, I'll just work my way around this way, and then I can, build the two halves and put them up, and frame out the corners. But then I forgot that this is not tall enough in the center for the roof pitch. So yeah, okay, cool. But yeah, that Walters kit is I built that kit for club scene. And it's a nice kit, and it'll give you a good robust starting point for modifying, kit bashing it into, if it's similar enough, kit bashing that into what you need. All right, so what I need to do then is I need to take my sheet of material, and I need to go 17.0 and then down to 13.6 on the pitch. So let's go 17.0. Oh nope. Let me do this. And then 17.0 down here. 19, 18, 17 foot. Let's do another right here. 17 foot. And now let's run a line. Yeah. Yeah, if you can get some reference photos, that would be one. That would do the trick. All right, I need to redraw this line because this line came out terribly. Did my music end? Do I need to restart the music? Yes, it did. There we go. More music. Yay. Yeah, that's something I'm running into on some other projects I'm working on right now. Is it's so hard to find, like, for example, I'm working on, let's see, I'm going to be building a scene of I think it's what's the name of the town? It's South Hanson, Massachusetts, I believe, if I'm off the top of my head. So I think that was what it was. I found a picture of a New Haven RS2 switching a Northern Pacific wagon top boxcar, 50 foot, and what looks like a 40 foot New York Central 2-door boxcar to the Ocean Spray packaging plant in South Hanson. So I want to build that, that scene, because I had an RS2 model that I was working on turning into a New Haven locomotive anyways with that, and it happens that only one RS2 made it into the post McGinnis paint scheme, and that was the one in that picture. So I found that very interesting. But the warehouse no longer exists. The Ocean Spray no longer exists, and I have yet to find any real decent photos of it. So that's kind of, the building of the scene is kind of on pause for now. And the other one is I want to do a module of the American paper plant in I lost it. I don't know. I don't remember the name of the town. It might be Mansfield. I think it's Mansfield, Mass. Because it's it would be, I think it'd just be a nice module. You have a little siding for the plant, but like the satellite images are just awful. And any satellite images I can find are of the modern building, which has replaced, from what I can tell, has replaced a brick building sometime in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. And there's no good overhead images for me to kind of work off of. So I'm gonna be kind of fictionalizing the building itself into Joey's concrete block warehouse kit, and that'll be that. Because the module at the end of the day, the module's not supposed to be doesn't need to be. It's not that it's not supposed to be, but it doesn't need to be super accurate, because the main goal of that module is to be a kind of thank you module to Joey for gifting me that kit, and to Sean at Klondike for gifting me a double module kit for T-Track. So I don't really need that one to be super accurate. It's just like frustrating when you can't find those things. And it's very possible that those things definitely exist out there, and I just have not been looking in the right places, but it's just frustrating. So I feel your pain. There we go. Okay, nice clean cut. Move on. Okay, so now I need 24 feet. I'm going to wind up probably using the leftover material from this cut to do my interior walls. Cause I think well, I'll have to look back at my reference material. Nice. Yeah, Joey's work is phenomenal. Mark that as my scrap piece. But so ideally, I gotta double check. I think the interior also had some board and batten finish. Can't remember if it was board or batten finish or if it was just wood wall. You know what? Let me quickly look. Images. Oh, that's right. It's beadboard. All the interior finish is beadboard. So I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do to model that. Because I looked on Northeastern Scale Lumber. They did not have any beadboard siding that, or beadboard anything that you came even remotely close to end scale. So that's something I'm gonna have to figure out. That's probably just gonna have to be something that I figure out how to model an end scale. It might just be, probably what it'll be is it'll just come down to very carefully scoring a piece of wood. Okay, so if it's 24, 9/6 is the center. All right, well, let me do this. $24.12 would be the center. And then I need what's half of 9/6? That'd be 4.9, right? 4 for 9, 8 for 9. Yeah. 4.9. So I need to go 4.9 in either direction from my center mark. Let me get my center mark going here. just so I can use it as a reference. All right, let's go 4'9" from here. And we'll do it again. Okay, and now that should be should be 7'3" on each side to those, if I did my measurements right. Seven, 3. Okay. There we go. All right, now I need to go 13.0. Right there. Right there. Now, if I did all of my math right, this should be I should be able to do this. This. Theoretically, that should be the right shape. For the roof. Hey, that actually looks about right. Huzzah. And the height is right too. Hey, I did something right. Alright, let's quickly draw and cut these windows. And we should be, with that, I think we'll be good for the night. So the windows are 6'0" in from each side. 6 foot. Let's make a mark. Let's go 6 foot from right here. I don't trust that line. That looks angled. That looks better. And then I need 2, 6. Something's not right there. Let me erase all this. Get a nice clean, a nice fresh slate. Something's not right with that. Okay. 6 foot. 2, 6. Okay. There we go. All right, and now I need, what did I say? 2 foot. I said 2, 3 off the ground is, or 2, 3 off this, off of grade. Two, 3 up sill. 6, 3 for the head height, which is actually 8, 6 head. All right, now I need a 1 foot 9. No. 1 foot 3. There we go. There's one window. Alright, now I just have to mirror that.
So you think you know Wix? Do you really?
Nope. There we go. Alright. So let's do flip like this. Six foot, and then I need 2, 6. Okay. There's that. Now I just need to carry these lines across. I don't trust that. Let me redraw that. There we go. Okay. Go. Flip it around. There we go. Okay. There we go. That nicely cleaned up. Now sort of chunk out a good bit of that. And round it out. Looks pretty good. Yeah, it's good. All right, now we just need to do that one more time. Trim this down, down, down. There we go. And one more line across here. Go. Get rid of that. There we go. Put this blade off to the side. Okay. That is a wall. There we go. That's pretty good. Okay. So now if I put this with this. Of course I've got let me actually do that now. Let me bevel these edges. Go. There we go. Well, what do you know? We're starting to get the shape of things here. If I carefully grab this here and that's starting to look like something. Yeah. Okay. I'm quite pleased with that. I'm quite pleased with that. Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's, seeing as it is now officially midnight, I think I'm going to call it there. But I'm very pleased with those results, and I with my measurements, the only thing is I want to confirm this measurement here, but it looks roughly right. It looks like it might be a little bit too wide, but it looks roughly right. Certainly good enough for me for tonight, and I'll confirm it tomorrow. And as long as it's within, if it's like 6 inches, I probably won't move it. If it's a foot, I definitely will move it. I don't know. If it's 6 inches, I'll make a decision in the moment on whether or not I'm going to actually move it. But this is coming out very nice now that I got that. Well, the problem is if I sand it a bit, then it becomes wider. It's like I need to cut a piece off and like fill it in on the other side to move the window over. So otherwise I totally would just bring my file out and widen, just stream it out a little bit, but I just got to make sure it's positioned right. I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna see how I feel about it if I go out and remeasure it. But I'm very pleased with these pieces, and I can't wait to keep building more of this building. Because this is coming out. This is coming out amazingly. Now that I'm actually getting work done on it, and not just kind of randomly guessing at dimensions. Things are looking very nice. So, all right. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, Adam. Thanks for hanging out and watching me and chat with me as I work. It's always great to have someone to chat with as you do things. So with that, I'm gonna wrap it up for the night. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time it is for you all. And I'll see you on the next track. Have a good night, everyone.